Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I want to tell you an amazing story that happened to me. I was reading the scriptures to my children, and I came upon a wonderful story of King Hezekiah. Hezekiah was a good king after a long dynasty of kings, some good, some bad. He came along and he said, I want to serve the true God. Now his father had not done that, and his father worshipped evil idols and even sacrificed children to these evil idols. But Hezekiah said, I'm going to be different. And so he served God, and something terrible happened to him. He became deathly ill. Well, the prophet Isaiah came to see him, and he said, get ready, you're going to die. And Hezekiah said, how could something terrible happen to me? I'm following God. I'm one of the good guys. How did this happen? And he cried and cried. But before Isaiah got out of the palace, God said to him, go back and talk to Hezekiah. I'm giving him 15 more years. So he went back to Hezekiah and said, God is giving you 15 more years. And as a sign, the sun is going to move backwards on your father's sundial. Well, Hezekiah waited, and sure enough, the sun went backwards, hours on his father's sundial. Can you imagine what that was like? And then he was healed, and he was very happy about it. Well, I read this story to my children, and after I was finished reading, it was like I was gripped by the story. It was like I was possessed by the story, because I said, wow, how did Hezekiah feel when the sundial went backwards? That must have been amazing. We know that it meant that something happened. Like, did the earth turn backwards? Something crazy happened. He must have been so excited to know that the God of all the earth and of the universe was moving on his behalf. Sure enough, Hezekiah was healed. After I read that story to my children, I was washing dishes, and I got a phone call from my mechanic, and he said, Stephanie, can you come with your husband, and can you pray for my dad? He's dying. In fact, he's been given no hope. And I said, well, I suppose I should go there. So my husband and I went to pray for his father, and on the way, I said, I feel, what if what happened to Hezekiah could happen to this man who was in a coma? His name was Walter. And so I thought, well, I have a little mustard seed of faith that this is possible, but I have to plant my mustard seed. So I was in a restaurant, and I called the owner, and I said, well, I've got a hard job today. And he said, what's your hard job? And I said, I'm going to go pray for someone who's been in a deep coma for 42 days. And the man said, well, I'm sorry. And I said, yeah, well, I'm going to pray for him and see what happens. So we went to the bedside of this man. There were several of us there praying, my mechanic friend and a couple others. And my mechanic friend told me the terrible news. He said his oxygen level in his blood has fallen below 40% for many days. The doctors say there's no hope, there's no possibility of him ever coming back, and they're telling us to gather the family so we can pull the plug. 42 days? And I said, wow, that's terrible. And my mechanic friend said, yeah, I mean, it's not supposed to go below 60%, or that's terrible for the brain, but 40%, there's no hope. The doctors have no hope. So we began to pray, and I thought of Hezekiah, and I said, oh God, would you please give Walter, this man, would you give him more time like you gave Hezekiah? And so I thought, well, what should I do? It looks like Walter's like he's crossed to the other side already. And so he was there laying in the bed on a respirator, not breathing on his own for many days, over a month. And I just called to him and I said, Walter, come back for the glory of God. In that moment, well, a couple minutes later, Walter opened his eyes and he looked around, and big tears started rolling down his face as he recognized his son. And I ran out of the room, out of the intensive care, and I got the nurse and I said, this man just woke up, this man Walter in intensive care, he just woke up. And she said, no, honey, no, honey, that's not possible. But keep talking because the hearing is the last to go. Perhaps he can hear you. And I said, but he's moving. And she said, no, it's only your perception. That's not possible. And so I went back in and we were talking to him, and he was responding to us with his eyes. And we said, this is amazing. Well, this is what happened. Walter truly did wake up. He truly woke up that day. And so my mechanic went to the doctors and he said, why did you tell me to unplug him and turn off the respirator? Look, my dad came back. And both of them said, Jane, he was gone. It's a miracle. It's absolutely a miracle. So Walter got better and he went home. And he was about, I guess, the happiest man I ever saw. When I saw him, he was so happy. And I said, Walter, what did you do? What happened? And he said, I was walking with Jesus. And I said, that's so amazing, because when we prayed for Walter, we prayed in the name of Jesus, in the name of Yeshua. So I tell you this, if you're listening to me today, ask God, is Jesus your son? And I'm telling you for no other reason that I want to give you hope in this world, that he is. And you can read this story. It's written in 3 different books of the scriptures. Hezekiah's mentioned. Please read this story in all of those books. Thank you. And if you have any questions, my email is steph444@gmail.com. steph444@gmail.com. And I would love to hear your comments. Thank you very much. God bless you.